Hi guys, it's Seb here from the review podcast from the League One Lowdown. Just jumping on quickly to say, don't forget to subscribe to the League One Lowdown YouTube channel. We're on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and we could really do with your support. All you have to do is just go on to our YouTube channel page and press the subscribe button. It really is much appreciated from myself and the rest of the boys, and thank you very much for watching this video, and hope you enjoy the rest.
Hello and welcome to a bonus episode of the League One Lowdown. I'm Callum, and as always, I'm joined by Sam and a special guest from our sister podcast at the deck. It's Jordan. Jordan, we've got over our fights about Lincoln and Grimsby in the pre-show. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks, mate. How's everyone doing over on the League One side? Hopefully to join you next year, although a bit interesting at the minute after Saturday. So, how's everyone doing?
Yeah, right. It's not the best league, is it, Sam? At the minute, we'll be honest.
No, we try and type it up as much as we can. We've got 3 positions to be up for grabs, and you look at League Two, for example, anywhere from like 4th to 7th is still up for grabs, and then Carlisle deciding to actually be able to play football probably helps the relegation battle as well.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
So on this special episode of the podcast, we're going to look at who could be in League One next year, because it's one of them that whenever it's a bit dull, we just look ahead to what could happen in the future, I suppose, because that kind of spices it up, and we can dream with our imagination about what next year could hold. So we're going to start off by looking at who will win the promotion race and the playoff race in League One, with obviously 2 automatic spots. One has already gone to Birmingham, who will get the second one and who will win the playoffs, and then who will be relegated from League One. Let's start then, as usual, with who's going to be promoted from League One. Now, Sam, for me, this is the interesting one, because I think the first one comes down to Wrexham versus Wickham, and then the second one is who wins the playoff places. Mm-hmm. For me, if you'd have asked me a week ago, it'd have been very obvious. Wrexham probably would have walked it, but dropped points at the weekend, so it's not done and dusted.
No, and I looked at the fixtures before and I thought, Wrexham have got this down to a T. 2 promotions in 2 years, promotion winning manager, promotion winning squad, and they know how to win promotions, compared to a Wickham side who probably don't. But they faltered against I think a rejuvenated, very difficult to beat Wigan side under Ryan Lowe. While they're not winning matches, Wigan, they are incredibly difficult to beat, as proven with 4 draws in their last 5. I think the biggest problem for Wrexham all season has been their away form. Like, you compare that to Wickham's, for example. Wickham's is the best in the league compared to Wrexham's, which is around 6th or 7th best. So that's their biggest problem. But at home, it is literally, you flip it over, Wrexham are one of the best teams in the league, and Wickham are around 5th or 6th. Looking at the remaining fixtures, I fully expect Wrexham to get over the line. I think Wrexham have got less teams, shall we say, who are fighting for something, compared to Wickham, who have got 2 or 3 teams actually fighting for something. I think the team to watch out for if they do slip up is Stockport County. 4 wins in a row, also looking for back-to-back promotions. So I don't think we can discount them being 5 points off. It's a 2-game swing with 4 to go. So while it's very, very unlikely, Stockport could be the team to watch going towards the end of the season.
I think for me, it is Wrexham. And then it's one of them, Jordan, isn't it? I don't know what it's like in League Two. We'll get onto that in a minute. But if you miss out on automatic promotion, having chased it for so long, even though statistically you are the best team going into it, it puts you almost at a disadvantage, almost that mental breakdown that you've missed out on automatically, and you've got 3 more games to potentially do it, and it sucks, doesn't it, that you've not got automatic? It's a negative going into the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think for any team, it'll take the stuffing out of you, especially if you've been up there for pretty much most of the season. I think if you want to look at it at a League Two perspective, I think you probably look at Walsall at the minute for how far they were ahead in the first half of the season. We were talking about possible best League Two team going at one stage, and then obviously the second half of the season fall off has been quite something. And now it looks more and more likely that they're going to drop out the top three altogether and go into the playoffs. And I tell you what, if they make the playoffs at the way they're going at the minute, there's no way they're winning it. But yeah, it's certainly, we've seen it in the past from a couple of teams. I mean, Northampton was a few years ago in League Two, we'll see with that final day with Bristol Rovers and all that, and they ended up losing in that playoff final as well, got promoted the next year. It does take a lot out of teams, and it's obviously more effort to put in there after a whole season's worth of hard work. But yeah, it's just how it is. I guess it's sort of the beauty of the beast in a sort of way with that, but not one that you want when you're up there. Oh yeah.
And then for me, the playoff battle comes down to, I almost want to kind of discount Wickham almost. I mean, not that you do that at your peril, but I think if they miss out on automatics, I don't think they're going to really have that mental strength. No criticism on them. Anyone would feel heartbroken at not getting automatics. So for me, I think it comes down to Stockport County and Charlton Athletic. And I've said it before. I think it's Stockport County are probably, I don't want to say the better side, but I think Stockport County have played the more attractive football. They've scored more goals than Charlton have this season, 5 more goals this season than them, and they've conceded 1 less. They're a good side of Stockport, but then it is Nathan Jones, who Sam has obviously managed at a much higher level and knows. He knows how to win in these key matches, doesn't he?
Yeah, 100%. He's obviously managed at a high level. I think Stockport obviously have memories of losing to Carlisle in the League Two playoffs a couple of years ago as well. The manager was obviously still there. Some of the players were still the same as well. So if they do get to Wembley, they will have a vendetta, shall we say, or a curse to break. I think the winner of Stockport and Charlton, because it is very likely that they're going to finish 4th and 5th, will probably win the playoffs, to be honest.
Yeah.
I agree that if Wickham come third, they'll feel a bit down in the dump, so to speak, after being second near enough for most of the season and top of the league for a period of time as well. And I think the team that come 6th, whether it be Reading, Leyton Orient or Bolton, I think Bolton have lost 4 of their last 6. They've lost 16 games this season. Same with Orient, 16 losses all season. Reading, I don't think are good enough away, but they have a moment in them, if that makes sense, with Reading. And with everything that's gone off the pitch anyway, it's well documented with Reading. It's been some achievement to even get into the position to fight for the top 6 position. But I think the winner of the playoffs will either be Stockport or Charlton.
I think that's the battle that I'm very excited for. I'm going to put my neck on the line then, and we'll do predictions. We won't be held to these though, so no buying football shirts or anything if one of us gets it wrong, because that's not going very well for either of us at the minute, I don't think, Sam. I'm going to put my neck on the line then and say Wrexham and Charlton get promoted from League One. I don't think they'll be in League One next season. Jordan, have you got any bets? I know League One's not your forte, but you might be here next year. We'll get onto that in a minute. Have you got any predictions?
I probably do think Wrexham will pick Wickham to it. I always had that feeling I've had that feeling for quite a while, to be fair. And there's been quite a lot to like about Wickham this year, but obviously their mental side, and pretty much with Phil Parkinson, with how they're winners at Wrexham. He just knows how to get the job done, and that's what sways it to me. I've liked the look of Charlton. I've liked the look of Stockport. I'm glad to see Stockport doing well. I quite like him as a club, actually. And I always have for quite a while. I do think it'll be one of those two. Lots to like about both, but if I had to pick one, swaying towards Charlton, obviously with Nathan Jones and the players they've got there, he's really got them firing this year. He's done a really good job. Same as someone like Dave China at Stockport. They've done really well. But I sort of expected Stockport to be in and around the mix. Probably not as good as what they have done. So I think they could take a lot of promise from this season, a lot of pleasure from it. And of course, it'll be even better if they do go. But for me, I think Charlton pips into it. So yeah, probably both Wrexham and Charlton for me.
And Jordan, and Sam, have you got any thoughts?
I agree with Wrexham. Charlton will probably be hoping for another Patrick Bauer moment from a couple of years ago. But I do think it'll be Stockport or Charlton, but I think it'd be rude if I didn't back my own club going into the playoffs. There's a small chance we get in, a small chance we probably still have to win all 4, regardless being 3 points off and our goal difference being 10 better. But I have to back my own club. So I'm backing my own club.
Feels like we kind of neglected those that could squeeze in. It does feel like it's Orient, Bolton, and Reading's to fight for around there. Huddersfield, the news coming out today that they've spent more on wage fees than more on agent fees, than any other club in League One, and by a considerable margin as well. It's not been a great season for them. In terms of the League One relegation zone, Jordan, I'm going to hope that these are the teams that you're playing next year. No offense, Grimsby fans, but as a Lincoln fan, I gotta stay in my own corner. For me, I think we kind of, I know Shrewsbury, Cambridge, and Crawley could realistically get out of it. They are all not mathematically down, but I can't see a world in which either of them, who have between them only managed one win in the last 9 games, well, one win in the last 3 games each. That was for Cambridge. They're not doing very well combined, really. So I don't think they're going to do enough to get out of it. It's between Burton, Bristol Rovers, dare I put Wigan, Mansfield, and Northampton into the group as well. Now. I think the gap is a bit too far. It's 5 points, isn't it, with 4 to play. So they're probably safe. It's between Burton and Bristol, Sam.
Yeah, I think the job that Gary Bowyer has done, he's gone into Burton, and we all thought they were gone at Christmas. And we've done this the past 2 years. They get a new manager, and somehow, with, I don't know what momentum is behind that football club after Christmas, they must have a bloody good Christmas dinner. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
But to get out of the situation they were in, they couldn't score a goal. They couldn't defend. They were terrible at home. The job Gary Bowyer has done there should be applauded to get that club where it is, to even have a sniff of staying up, which for a long time obviously has looked bleak. But for Bristol Rovers, what a disaster. They had I thought, quite a strong summer. They had a strong manager in Matt Taylor. They sacked Matt Taylor. They've got it was a risk at the time getting Inigo Calderon, considering their league position, an unexperienced manager at this level. And it's fallen short. Like, they've got all this talent in the front line, which, yes, they've had injuries in the front line, but 5 defeats in a row. They've now scored less than Burton at only 42. The only saving grace Bristol Rovers have is their home form, but you can't see where the next win's coming from, really. And this is the worst point in the season to lose 5 in a row. Burton obviously have their game in hand to come, and I believe that's Wigan second. So you've got the week of the final day. It's in there, so there's still a little while to go before that game, but it could all be over by then. Burton win one of their next 2, it could literally be over. I can't. If Burton get 3 points clear, I can't see there being the flip, because Burton's goal difference is 11 better. So we could literally have a team go down on goal difference. We're looking for a 2-game swing.
Yeah. We were talking about Bristol Rovers there and the terrible form they've been on. It almost started in the middle of March, where they had that 5-0 defeat to Lincoln. Now, I remember listening to Inigo Calderon after that game, and he just said, the way he was talking, almost like the players know how to play football. They were just tired. It was almost like they want to, but they can't. And it just feels like ever since then, they've almost, I don't want to say forgotten how to play football, but it does feel like that. Jordan, how much of a, I mean, it's one, you get one hammering and it's all about how you bounce back, isn't it? That's what they say. It's not about how far you get knocked down, it's how you get back up. It just feels like they've never recovered from that.
Yeah, and I think the results have sort of proved it as well, going on alongside Burton Albion and the job that, we've mentioned that Gary Bowyer has done. It's a dangerous game, and not one that you want right pretty much at the most crucial part of the season, where your League One status is on the line. They've not recovered. I always thought the appointment of Calderon was a huge risk. Always a huge risk, especially for someone coming into their first managerial job, probably maybe in a situation of there. But we did mention like good parts with Bristol Rovers at the earliest start of the season, with the transfers and the squad, Matt Taylor, etc. And it's just fallen right flat on its face. And now you're at a point now where they need points. They're not getting points, and it's looking ever so increasingly more likely that it's going to be another relegation for Bristol Rovers back to League Two, and whether they'll go straight up again like they did last time, obviously will remain to be seen if they did go. I think the other 3 are pretty much set in stone, and obviously it's that last one. But yeah, it's like there's obviously that culprit that when you're on the end of a battering, you want to put it right as quickly as possible, and I just haven't done that at all. And as time goes on, and with the games counting down, and with the games going by, it's looking even more less likely that I think they're going to do that. So, yeah, worrying, I think.
They've been a bit of a, I don't want to say a yo-yo club, but they're not like a guaranteed League One club. I mean, obviously we have to give credit to Burton Albion though as well. Sam, you sung their praises a lot earlier on. We mentioned a lot that they signed a lot of players, didn't they? But they've kind of it takes time, doesn't it? I mean, we see with Chelsea all the time. It takes time for these players to gel, but it's kind of happened. I don't want to say that we've all come to the same consensus again, but it does feel like Burton have hit form at the right time. And when we say form, their form is the epitome of roller coasters. I think the last 6 games they've won, lost, won, lost, won, lost, won. Like it's something incredible like that. But again, if you're winning and losing every other game, it's better than drawing every single game. Yeah. And at the end of the day, they're going to stay up, I think.
And they've now got a goal scorer in Ruben Morel, who got 20 odd goals for Cove Rangers last year. Came in with a slow start, in and out of the squad. But since Gary Bowyer's come in, he's had faith in him. And since New Year, he's got 10 goals. And that will most likely keep Burton up because they now have a goal scorer that can score them 2 in a game and they can keep the other end tight and win 2-1 or something like that.
I think then it's fairly obvious who we're all going to put as the relegated side. I've gone Bristol Rovers. Jordan?
The bottom 4 is.
Yeah, I'd say the same. Yeah, Bristol Rovers for me.
I mean, it's nice to have one change of position because we've not had that since September, have we? Really, in the bottom 4, Sam, it has been the same all year long.
Near enough, yeah. Other than when my club were down there, all of us fans were absolutely pooing ourselves at the prospect of going back down. And the bottom 4 has been pretty much set all year. We had the nightmare at Crawley's ownership and Scott Lindsay deciding to go, stealing all the players, and then coming back. Cambridge have been down there all year. Neil Harris deciding to leave last year and then come back again, which was really weird. You had Gareth Ainsworth in at Shrewsbury, only to leave to go to a League 2 club. It's just been a weird year.
Yeah, it's not been a relegation battle for the ages, that's for sure. No. We're going to move on to Jordan, who is obviously part of 4th Tier Fever. If you've not subscribed to them, Shrewsbury fans, then you probably want to head over there fairly pronto and hit subscribe. Let's talk about the League 2 promotion race. Now, look, for all the world that we would be talking about Walsall being in League One. I was in a pub with Jimmy Walker, the ex-Walsall goalkeeper, at the weekend, just talking to him about just how bad of a bottle job it's been for Walsall. He can't believe it. He's always living in can't believe it, disbelief about it. There's a lot of positivity coming out of Bradford City, but the team that are really in form is the one top of the pile. That's Port Vale, Jordan.
Yeah, it is, and I think especially after the weekend gone, obviously with Bradford losing late, Walsall losing again, I think everyone else sort of just around them not picking up points, but with Port Vale stamping down that 5-0 win against Bromley, I think you can't look beyond them at the minute. I think it's almost a case that we look at it, past few weeks, you see the amount of results that teams have had that are up there, and you're like, is anyone just bothered about it? Like, does anyone actually want to come to League One? And it's certainly Port Vale at the minute. Look, 6 wins out of the last 7, load of clean sheets in that time, and their fixtures are somewhat favourable. They've still got to play. They've still got to play us, Grimsby. Still got to play Wimbledon, likes of Carlisle and Gillingham as well. But they certainly look the one. They're hitting form at the right time, and Darren Moore's giving them a bit of a boost there. They've had spells throughout the season. I think they started off pretty well. Had that somewhat dip in form around Christmas time and around that, and then they've just, since the turn of the year, they've massively picked up, and now they're starting to do it with a few more wins because they had a few draws, for the past couple of months. But I'll be amazed if they're not in League One next year the way they're going at the minute. And for it's just weird because the other spots are just so wide open at the minute. It's just mad, really.
It's a title race and a playoff race that we can only be enviable of, Sam, isn't it? I mean, it's obviously a huge ball job from Walsall, but it's the fact that anyone from 11th upwards could feasibly get into the playoffs. You've got the likes of, you got Grimsby on 66, which obviously, Jordan, you'll be rooting for as a Grimsby Town fan. You got Colchester just a point behind, but with a 12 better goal difference somehow. I'm not sure how that's happened. Chesterfield, they're on 62 points, so 4 points outside. And then Salford City and Crew Alexander, 61 points. Crew probably not in the best of form, but it really could go either way, Sam. And I'm not really sure which way to swing it at all.
No, and I think the one that's impressed me is Bradford without Andy Cook, who scored, 25 odd goals last season, been missing most of this season. Walsall, who knows? I know they lost Nathan Lowe, who got all their goals in January, and since then it has just completely capitulated. I think Matt Sadler signed a new contract as well around that time, and it's just completely gone to pot. Doncaster have the game in hand, so I suspect they will go above, but I think they've all got to play each other at some point as well. Wimbledon have won 1 in 5. Notts County have lost 2 in a row. Colchester have won 2 of their last 5. It's like Jordan says, it doesn't look like anyone actually wants to get out of this league. When you've got the teams like Swindon, Barrow, winning 2 of their last 3, Swindon with 3 of their last 2. The teams that have no pressure on them seem to be the ones now picking up results because everyone in this league has got pressure on them to actually go for something. Chesterfield and Salford are the 2 I think I'm looking at as who could sneak in terms of form. I think Notts County are out of form. They obviously hired some Italian man who I don't like for obvious reasons. And Orient fans will get that reference. Wimbledon's form is also very sketchy. I know I saw some criticism of Johnny Jackson on their timeline a couple of weeks ago after a defeat. But I couldn't call League Two. I honestly couldn't. And
I think it's really difficult.
A joy to watch. I thought to be involved with it for Jordan's sake, it's probably quite stressful. As a neutral looking in, it's carnage, absolute carnage.
I think we'll start our predictions segment. We'll do it in chunks because I think it's very hard to predict who's going to get playoffs and who's going to get automatics. So we'll start with first and second, and we'll do third in a moment. First, I've gone with Bradford. I've gone with Port Vale top, Bradford second. I think it will stay as it is there. Bradford's form is a bit too inconsistent, and Port Vale 4 on the bounce. Got 3-point buffer. I've gone Port Vale and Bradford as my top 2. Jordan?
I mean, look, we did something similar on Fourth Tier Fever the other week about predicting, what the top 3 and the top 7 will be. I had Bradford to win the league, but I've very swiftly changed my mind. I've gone for Port Vale just to pit them to it. I still think Bradford will go up automatically. I think their home form has been a real source of achievement in that, and they do look a strong side. Obviously, that game at Swindon on Saturday was carnage, but I think they have enough. I think they do have enough in the tank, and then obviously it's that last automatic spot, isn't it?
It's chaos, isn't it?
Yeah. Because obviously Walsall are massively out of form, but you do look at their last games: Harrogate, Newport, Accrington. There's favourable games there, but obviously they've got to get those points, and they haven't done in 10. Whereas Doncaster have that game in hand, and they have more difficult games. They've obviously still got Salford, Colchester, Bradford, and Notts to play. I think currently at present, I'm itching towards Doncaster more than I am Walsall, just for the sake of obviously a few different reasons and how woefully out of form Walsall are. They don't look like at the minute. I don't know where their next win is coming from. It's just one of those at the minute. They were awful at Barrow the other day. So I'll go for them, I think.
Sam, who have you got in your top 3?
I've got Port Vale, Doncaster, Bradford as the top 3.
Port Vale, Doncaster, Bradford. Interesting. In third, I've also, for me, I've kind of, I don't want to say I've tasseled with the romantics, but for me, it's. We'll talk about Colchester in a minute in terms of the playoffs, but I'm a romantic when it comes to football, and there's a couple of Lincoln City connections as well. So I've gone Doncaster Rovers in third. Originally, I'd put Colchester to sneak in at the last minute, but looking at how many goals they've scored, no one other than Crewe in 11th has scored fewer times than them. They've only scored 51 this season. Okay, they've got back-to-back wins, but whether they'll even sneak in there, I'm not sure, let alone go on to win it. So I've kind of gone a little bit safer and gone with Wimbledon to win the playoffs.
Oh,
Jordan.
The saviour Joe Piggott's there, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. It sort of changed my mind because I originally had Doncaster in the playoffs, but now I've changed my mind. I think Walsall will be in there. It's the two between Wimbledon and Notts County. I think the way they have been recently, I think that they're both very capable of dropping out. Or not. I watched Notts the other day and they were poor and have been for quite a while. And you've seen some of their reaction from towards Stuart Maynard and how dull I think they are. I've not seen a great deal in Wimbledon, and then you do look at the other teams. Obviously, Grimsby in there. I quite like if we can hold our bottle for a little bit longer, get a couple more results. It'll be tight. I do fancy Colchester to creep in there one way or another. I think since the turn of the year they've been fantastic in the Cowleys.
You're not backing yourself. You're not backing Grimsby.
I mean, look, there's absolutely no pressure on us. I think it's probably the same way that I don't think there was really much pressure on Colchester coming into the season. And I think we sort of prefer that. And I really like how this team is. I mean, if we get into the playoffs, it's great. I still think we're a little bit early, if truth be told. But obviously, if you're in the playoffs, it's anyone's game. So you obviously want to back yourselves. If Colchester break into the playoffs, I think out of those four, I fancy them more than anyone. I think just on form and everything else with the players that they've got. Although I think they had a couple of injuries in the other day, like Lyle Taylor. I think Jack Payne is missing for them now, which could be huge for them. So there's two players there, but I think you can't even discredit Chesterfield or Salford either. I mean, if Salford beat that, if they beat or take something out of Doncaster, they've got a massively favourable run of fixtures coming up where they're playing like the bottom sides, in which they have had the better hand over the season. So you can't even discourage them yet. It's just ridiculous, isn't it? Like it's so hard to call this year. I sort of said that without really picking one. I don't think Walsall will win it if they get in the playoffs. No, absolutely.
Their form is terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, just absolutely no way, and everyone will fancy themselves against them in a minute, and rightly so. I think if Colchester make it, I honestly reckon that I think they'll do it. Seriously.
And I would love them to. I would love them to with the Cowley connection as well. I think that'd be really cool. As a Lincoln fan, I'd like to see them back in League One as well. Sam, who are you tipping for playoff success?
I'm going to say Chesterfield sneaking. Every time I seem to look at Chesterfield, they just seem to win. And I know they're 4 points off 4 games to go, and that is quite a big swing, especially with teams sort of in form at that of Grimsby, Colchester in decent form.
Yeah. It
could be that Notts County drop out and then Chesterfield sneak in, and then it goes like a Chesterfield Colchester final or something like that. I'll go a bit rogue. I'll say Chesterfield.
So between us, we're all backing a combination of Port Vale, Doncaster and Bradford to join us in League One next year, which I think would be great. A lot of fun teams in there as well, so I'm looking forward to that. And then all of us have gone different for the final promotion spot for the playoffs. A combination of Colchester, Wimbledon and Chesterfield. So we'll take that. Into the Championship then, and of course 3 teams have to join League One. This is the League One lowdown, isn't it? To just remind ourselves, we've been talking about League Two for a while. But if you are new here, of course, remember to subscribe as well. Plenty of League One content coming your way over summer as well. The football never stops. Into the Championship then, and for me, this is it looked fairly certain a couple of weeks ago that we'd have one team in terms of Plymouth, and then the others were quite open. It's now all to play for, I think, in that bottom one. Currently, Cardiff, Luton, and Plymouth Argyle occupy those spots. Sam, who do you think will join us? Who are the teams to look out for?
I think. Well, originally we had about 7 teams all fighting for their lives. I think Oxford, with their win at Sheffield Wednesday at the weekend, are fine. I think they are clear. They're 6 points clear of the drop with 4 games to go and a superior goal difference. They're fine. Stoke, under Mark Robbins, have sort of steadied the ship. They're 5 clear with 4 to go, and I think they'll be fine. Portsmouth, I worry about. They've got a lot of injuries at the top end of the pitch, are out of form. So Portsmouth is one to worry about. They're 4 points clear. Hull play their game in hand tonight against Coventry, which I think they'll lose. But they do, I believe, Hull have. It's Derby. Derby have to play Luton at some point as well. I think Cardiff are gone. I think the fans, are renowned. Have sort of just given up for this season. They don't like the owner, they don't like the manager, and they don't like the team. Quite frankly, at Cardiff. So I'll look forward to an away day at Cardiff next season. Plymouth, I think they'll be gone. While they recruited quite heavily in January, Plymouth, and I think their manager is quite a decent manager. But I just think the quality of their squad, and they've been down there for so long. If they manage to creep out, it's some achievement, and their goal difference is 28 worse than Derby's. And I think goal difference is going to have a big part to play at this end of time of the season. Luton, I can't believe we're actually saying that they could be in League One next season. In terms of fixtures left for Luton, they've got Derby on Good Friday. They've got Bristol City, who are fighting at the right end of the table. They've got Coventry and West Brom. And they've got West Brom away. Their away form is absolutely turgid. They've got Coventry at home. They've got Bristol City at home, and they got Derby away. Derby under Johnny Eustace have had some sort of a revival. They won 3 in a row, but they've drawn their last 2. I think Derby will be okay, purely because I think Johnny Eustace is a brilliant man manager and gets every ounce of performance out of the players. So I think Derby will be okay. I'm going to say, Hull obviously sacking Liam Rosenior was an interesting one last summer anyway.
I mean, I think that's a decision. We'll get on to predictions in a minute. I think that's a prediction. That's a decision that will really come back to haunt them. I mean, what he's doing miracles in France he's in now, I believe, isn't he? He's got I forget where he's at, but he's got the team that shouldn't be in the Champions League spots into the Champions League spots, which I think Strasbourg, or is it Lens or something like that?
Strasbourg, I want to say,
Strasbourg,
yeah. Like Plymouth
he's doing an incredible job there. Plymouth obviously that huge win at the weekend as well, Sam. They've got a fight in them, so I wouldn't count them out.
But they've got Middlesbrough away, fighting for playoffs. Coventry at home, fighting for playoffs. Preston away, fighting for nothing. Leeds at home. So I don't think they may beat Preston, but their goal difference is so bad that they've probably got to win 2 of them fortnight. They could beat Middlesbrough because Middlesbrough have got so many injuries. So I think it all relies on Good Friday. They have to kind of beat Middlesbrough, I think, to stand any sort of chance. Luton, they've got to win both their home games, I think, to stand any chance. But if they come down to League One, they should be strong with Matt Bloomfield at the helm. They'll have another parachute payment from the Premier League of 20 odd million quid. They'll probably end up doing some sort of Birmingham, spending 30 odd million quid and flogging half the squad out, I suspect, at Luton. Cardiff have got Sheffield United away, Oxford at home, West Brom at home, and Norwich away. So Norwich have not really got... They've got a couple of clubs there not fighting for anything. Derby have Luton at home, West Brom away, Hull away, and Stoke at home. So all the teams sort of are in and around them. And Hull have Coventry at home, as I said earlier, Swansea away, who have won 3 in a row, Preston at home, Derby at home, and Portsmouth away on the final day. So everyone seems to be playing each other, which is going to cause literally predictions impossible. But I think we can have Plymouth. I'm going to say we're going to get Luton, and I literally think we'll get the bottom 3 as it is, personally.
Okay. As it is, finish as it is as well.
Yeah, I think it'll finish as it is. Yeah.
Interesting. I mean, we had Derby not long ago, didn't we? I'll come to Jordan for this one. Yeah, we had Derby not long ago, and they've I don't want to say they've surprised me because I thought they'd be one of the teams that coped all right, but the one team that I thought Oxford United had really struggled, and they've done all right. So there are a bunch of teams that I don't think we should be really talking about in terms of a League One sense. I mean, Hull City, established Championship side as far as I'm concerned, Luton Town in the Premier League not so long ago, Cardiff City, I can't remember the last time they were in League One. I'm sure someone will remind me in the comments, but you know, the teams that you wouldn't typically associate with this level of football at all. So, I mean, I'm looking forward to it. Plenty of fans to talk to next year, whatever happens. I think, Jordan, it's going to be. I think there's going to be a lot of fan bases that aren't very happy.
Yeah, and of course, but that's just how it is, isn't it? There's some big clubs there that have enjoyed, good success. In previous years. I mean, you look at Derby. Of course, I just spent 3 years at university in Derby and know quite a lot of Derby-like people around there. Know a load of Derby fans, and I think from the load I spoke to over the end of last season when they got promoted, it was more just about staying in the league. I think for what they've been through and everything and all that. And I mean, look, Hull as well. I mean, they've had a few decent years, a couple of chaotic years under their Turkish owner. Obviously, a lot of money spent last season, and in the hopes that they'd go up to the Premier League, and they missed out on the playoffs. I mean, the squad they had was utterly ridiculous for the level. And obviously, that decision to sack Liam Rosenior in the summer and obviously to replace him with that German bloke, I can't remember his name at the top of my head, but it's looking like a more weird decision by the minute. Obviously, I quite like Ruben Sellers, and if Hull do go down, then I like the way they're going. But the fact that we're talking about potential relegation for them as well is probably it's just a culmination of terrible decisions that they've made over the past couple of years. You see the teams that are down there. I think you probably agree with Plymouth. The fact that they've got a bit of a glimmer of hope from the season that they have had is probably a little bit of a testament to themselves, but I think the quality is lacking there. Luton's the big one, isn't it? Obviously dropping down from the Premier League with the squad that they had. A lot of people, I've seen a fair few saying, automatic promotion back to them for the Premier League. I saw a few of them. It's obviously fallen massively on its face, which has cost Rob Edwards his job. Obviously, Matt Bloomfield's in there now. Did very well at Wickham first half of the season. So I pretty much agreed with what Sam said. If they come down, I feel like it might be a little bit of a boom. I just feel Cardiff has circled the drain for a little bit as a club. They've been sort of just down there with no real signs of progression or anything like that. And I always got the sense that it felt like a matter of time before they were going to drop down if something didn't change. And I think it's looking like it is looking ever so likely it's going to be this season. You've seen the clubs there. Oxford look like they're safe. They've done all right. So, and that was their main thing. They've done their job since coming up from League One. Portsmouth are not exactly out of this conversation yet, but obviously with injuries to account, I think they'll just scrape over the line. I think they'll just do it. And I quite like Portsmouth as a club, so I hope they sort of do it. I know pretty much we've touched on it, but obviously Derby with John Eustace there as well is the big reason why I think they'll stay up. Really like him. Really, really like him. It's hard to not. I think at the minute, obviously with the games with some that we've got left, I think the bottom three will stay as it is. I really do.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's different arguments for so many different clubs, where it's gone wrong, this season and even previous seasons with a couple of them. But yeah, I can't look beyond those three at the minute.
I say, go on, Tom, sorry.
The last time Cardiff were in the third tier was 2002, 2003 when they won the playoffs, finishing sixth.
That was before I was even born, so
that makes me feel incredibly old.
Jesus, cannot fathom that. I think I've gone slightly different. I put my neck on the line and said Hull. I think Hull will go down.
I'd love it if they did mind. If we come into League One, that'd be great, wouldn't it?
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? Yeah, could you imagine with Lincoln, Hull, and Grimsby all in the same division? I would be having an absolute field day, wouldn't we? Up on the side.
Poor Coppers, I'll tell you that for free.
It'd be brilliant. Scraps down Sinsel Bank, and it's going to be brilliant. Not that we condone hooliganism or anything, but Jesus. It's going to be interesting for sure. So I've gone Hull, I've gone Cardiff, and I've gone Plymouth. I don't see how Luton will get out of it, but I just think by virtue of Hull, I think I've gone, in my mind, it's Hull versus Luton for that final spot. And I just think Hull's decision to get rid of Liam Rosenior last year, I just think they deserve to be relegated on that alone. So I think that's my justification for that. But anyway, I think what we've gathered is hopefully Jordan and Sam, League One next year is going to be a lot more interesting than it's been this year.
Oh, we can all hope.
Well, hopefully so. If not, at least you've got League Two there for you.
We'll always
probably be the same next year, to be quite honest.
Yeah. It's absolutely why we love lower league football, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely brilliant. Well, that is it for this bonus episode of League One Lowdown. Thank you, Jordan, and thank you, Sam, for your extra time this week. If you've stayed tuned to the end, then make sure you tune in to our live stream, which is on Wednesday. So 2 days' time from when we're recording this, and hopefully when it's released. That will go live on Wednesday evening at 7 p.m. All four of us, me, Sam, Jamie, and Seb, will all be there to talk League One over the Easter period and preview the fixtures with some fun and games thrown in. So make sure you tune into that as well. Subscribe, make sure you got your notifications on as well. Follow us wherever you get your podcasts, and we'll see you very soon.